Hello, and welcome to our AmeriCorps Grant Timeline video. My name is Michael Stopa, and I'll be guiding you through everything you need to know about the various timelines related to your AmeriCorps grant year. Understanding these timelines are key in protecting the investment that Youth Build USA is making in your program, and as well as protecting the investment that you are making in the young people you serve. The grant timeline is made up of three distinct separate timelines: the grant enrollment period, the member service year, and the grant expenditure period. They all feed into the grant timeline in different ways, and we'll start by looking at all three of them one at a time. Let's start with the grant enrollment period. The grant enrollment period is the 1-year period that programs have to enroll their members into slots in the current grant year. The enrollment period always begins on August 15th of the year the grant begins and extends until August 14th of the following year. This means that for the 2021 grant year, the enrollment period goes from August 15, 2020 and extends until August 14, 2021. Here we have three members that are enrolled in the 2021 grant year. Even though all three have different enrollment dates, they will always be 2021 members because those dates fall between August 15, 2020 and August 14, 2021. Members will always be enrolled in the grant year that corresponds to the grant enrollment period they were enrolled during. There are no exceptions to this. Grant enrollment periods will never overlap. Here we see that when August 14th, 2021 rolls over to August 15th, 2021, that the 2021 enrollment period ends and the new one begins for the new grant year, in this case 21-22. There will be only one grant enrollment period active at any given time. Here we see our three-member cohorts again, only this time the last cohort is enrolled a few days later on August 16th, 2021. Even if it was your intention for all these members to serve in the same time in the same grant year, the members enrolled on August 16th will belong to a different grant year than the members enrolled before August 14th, 2021. Once one grant enrollment period ends and a new one begins, your ability to fill slots in the previous grant year will cease, so make sure to enroll members on the day their service begins. Next, let's take a look at the member service year. Members have 1 year to complete their service term, starting on the day they are enrolled and ending 1 year later. Let's take a look at the member service years for our three cohorts. Because all three cohorts start on different days, they have different member service years. Here you can see each one beginning on the day they are enrolled and ending 1 full year later. However, it should be noted that while members can use their full service year to finish their service, there are many reasons members can and often are exited early. Members can be exited early due to finishing their full service requirements early, leave with a partial ed award, or leave for various circumstances before they finish their service requirements. Here you can see the members of our three cohorts, all three of which are exiting earlier than their full year. Another thing to be aware of are suspensions. Suspensions are a period of time where a member ceases their service with the intention of resuming their service at a later date. Suspensions effectively add the length of the suspension to the end of their service term. For example, our 4-10-20 cohort is suspended from a month, from 3-1-21 until 4-1-21. This means that that month of time is added to the end of their service term, extending it to 11-3-21. Suspensions can happen by programmatic design or by unforeseen circumstances in both your programming and the lives of your members, which is why it is important to stay up to date on what your members are doing at your program on a monthly basis. Finally, let's tie it all together by going over the grant expenditure period. You may be asking what these two programmatic timelines have to do with your financial grant management. The answer is that the dates your members are enrolled determines their member service years, and those member service years determine when you are able to bill expense to the grant. We call this period the grant expenditure period. This can be remembered through the concept money follows the members. You have 30 days before your first member began their service, extending to 30 days after the final member exits to spend down and match your AmeriCorps grant. This period is the grant expenditure period. So let's go back to our three cohorts again. The first member is enrolled on 4/10/20, which means that our grant expenditure period begins 30 days before this date. We grab our calendars, count 30 days back, and see that 9/4/20 is the date that we can begin billing expense and match to our AmeriCorps grant. And we can do the same for our final members. Enrolled on 8/11/21, we know their expected exiting date is 8/10/22, and we can count 30 days from that. This gives us the date 9/9/22, which is the expected end of our expenditure period. However, there are some big things to consider here. Remember how we talked about members exiting early? Well, that would affect their exit date, which in turn affects your expenditure period. Here we can see our 8/11/21 members exiting early on 6/10/22, a full 2 months earlier than their expected exit date. This would mean that your expenditure period ends nearly 2 full months before the previous example, on 7/10/22. Similarly, just like how suspensions can extend member service years, they also extend our grant expenditure period. In this example, our 8/11/21 members are suspended for a month during their service. This means that their expected exit date is pushed back a month as well, which in turn pushes back our grant expenditure period that month to 10/9/22. Because of this, it is important to stay on top of the dates that your members of your program are enrolling and exiting. Always remember that money follows the members. Speak with your programmatic counterparts to get a good understanding of when they expect your members to enter and exit. This can prevent many unexpected headaches on your expenditure period ending before you expect it to. Because the grant expenditure period is determined by when members enter and exit, it is possible for two grant expenditure periods to overlap. Here we see two members, one enrolled in grant year 2021 on 5/1/21 and another enrolled in grant year 21/22 on 9/1/21. Let's look at how these expenditure periods for these two grant years overlap when we take these members into consideration. We can look at the expenditure period for each member cohort to see where the expenditure periods for these two grant years will overlap. Since we know that the expenditure period for our 2021 members begins on 4/1/21 and extends until 5/30/22, and the expenditure period for our 21/22 members extends from 8/15/21 until 9/31/22, we can check where these periods overlap, which is from 8/15/21 until 5/30/22. Here, we can see that overlap visually, the black lines being the enrollment period for each grant year and the green lines being the expenditure periods tied to the members of each grant year. We can see that the lines overlap and that all months contained within this overlap would be shared between both grant years. Depending on your programmatic design, it can be very common for grant years to overlap, which means that you may be reporting expense and match for two different grant years in a single month of the calendar year. This means that you have to manage these two grant years completely separately from one another, which of course means that you have to submit ARRs for each month that they overlap. And along with these ARRs, everything you normally would submit along with them. This of course means 2 FSRs, 2 expense and match workbooks, 2 staff summary workbooks, 2 sets of backup documentation, as well as GLs and timesheets for each grant year. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to read our help docs, email our general team email, which is AmeriCorpsFSR@youthbuild.org, or contact your AmeriCorps financial manager at YouthBuild USA directly. I also suggest that you watch the other great videos we have featured on our YouTube channel. Again, thank you for your time and have a good day.